Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. All right, last time we got the transmission tunnel all tacked together. We got those filler pieces tacked in. We got that side filler piece tacked in and everything. All that's ready to go to be fully welded once we get the drive shaft tunnel done. In the last episode, we cut this section out so we can see what we're doing. I am using this 1.5 inch pipe to kind of see where the drive shaft is going to be. It's going to be a 2-piece drive shaft. It's going to go down here to the carrier bearing and then back there to the drive shaft. Well, it's hitting right here. There's a brace that goes all the way across at the back of the truck where the seat belts bolt and whatnot. So that's got to be cut out, but to be safe, I'd like to order or have the customer order the drive shaft that's going to go in here. That way I can be 100% sure that it'll be correct. We'll do the drive shaft tunnel probably from this line here all the way back to the back wall, and then we'll do some sort of transition from here. I've already got the tunnel designed. We've got the truck up in the air and there's blocks under the frame, so if the temporary air setup leaks, it'll stay up in the air. This is the trans tunnel measurements that I've come up with. It's gonna be 7 inches wide, 2 3/4 tall, and then it'll be bent in 1 inch intervals, except for the top. The top will be 2 inches. All right, so we'll go ahead and get that drive shaft ordered, and we'll see you back when it shows up. Rear center section from Quick Performance showed up. Looks really good. It's really heavy too, 75 pounds. Now that that's here, we can go ahead, take the wheels off. We'll jack the axle up, put it on axle stands. I haven't decided if I'm gonna take the uppers off so I can tilt the housing back so that opening's up. But I'm gonna go ahead and either take the studs off also, or I have to clean the face of that so we can put the gasket on. I'm also gonna clean what I can on the inside and vacuum it out. May even just go ahead and take the axles completely out. But we need to get this part installed. Then we can go ahead and take measurements from the yoke on the rear center section to the carrier bearing, then to the tail end of the drive shaft. Then we can order that part and keep moving forward on this build. Let's go ahead and set the camera up and we'll get to it.
Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and go get some gear oil. I like to wipe the inside of the housing down with gear oil, and I also like to put some gear oil on that before I put it in as well. But as you saw, all the studs are put back in place.
Surface is cleaned up. The surface rust that's inside the housing, there's nothing you can do about it unless you go and have it dipped, chemically dipped. As long as there's no chunks in there, you'll be good. We'll be right back with some fluid.
Poured a little bit of lube, the lube that they require, GL5 8090. There's a little bit in there in the bottom. Make sure that drain plug is sealed up. That's why I have the pan under it. I saw a few bubbles, so I wasn't sure if it leaked or not. I also went ahead and rubbed some of that gear oil all over where all it was starting to surface rust. That way it can start to seep into that oil, the metal. Next, we're gonna grab this heavy thing and carry it over to put it in. First, we'll set the gasket in place. Then we'll set the center section in. Next, I need to look online. I thought I read somewhere that these get copper crush washers around there. So I'd like to verify that before I put some washers on it. Didn't even come with washers, but I want to make sure it's right.
You can actually see the groove where the washers would go, whether they be regular washers or crush washers. So I'll go ahead and look that up. Then we'll get back on and putting all this back together. Get the axles in, get everything tightened up. Once we get that center section snug, torqued, and set, then we can top it off with fluid. Let's see what we can find out.
end is all fully set up. As you saw, I added the GL5 it requires, the 80/90. Put the wheels back on. We've got the pinion angle set. It's aimed up about 3 degrees, 2.5 to 3 degrees. Transmission is aimed down the same amount. So now we'll get some measurements to where the carrier bearing mounts, and then measurements to the transmission, and we'll see what we can do with the either find or have a custom drive shaft made. Getting close to being able to finish this up so we can get what? Drive shaft tunnel done. I'm ready to get that all figured out because I want to move on to this front end. I'd move on to it and get it on now, but once I get done with that drive shaft tunnel and the transmission tunnel, I need to lift it up and paint it. All right, like I said, let me go ahead and get that figured out. Now that we have some numbers, I can figure out what stock drive shaft that'll work for this. It's going to be a 2-piece drive shaft, and I need to get my measurements to make sure that the carrier bearing is in the correct area. And then we can head on down to one of the local junkyards and we'll start measuring up what they have. We'll see what we can get to work on this. If I can't find anything that's gonna work, we'll hit up one of the local driveline shops and get one custom made. All right, guys, we're at the yard. We're gonna go ahead and check out some vehicles. I'll turn the camera around, but we're looking at Fords. You see one behind me, but we'll go ahead and check some things out. Let's flip this camera around. We're looking for a 2-piece, and under this one, I suspect to be a 1-piece. And let's see, I can use you guys as reference. I can't see under there, so we need to get a little lower. Let's see what we got here. Yep, that's a beat up 1-piece, so that ain't gonna work. We got a Chevy right here. Another Chevy. Ooh, another Ford. Ooh, ouch. That one's mangled. That's gonna be a 1-piece as it's a single cab, and nope, there's not one in it. All right, let's go check out this one over here. Beautiful day out here in Daytona. Helicopters in the sky. What a beautiful day. No snow. I think it's 80 degrees today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get under this one. This is a newer Ford. Looks like in the 2012s. And yes, it has a 2-piece. So I'll go ahead and measure that one, get some measurements, and we'll see if it works. All right, guys. I need that to be a flange, which I know they sell the flange. So worst case scenario, but the distance from the yoke to the carrier is shorter than what I need. I am looking for mainly from the carrier to the front right now, and then later on, I don't see why I couldn't Frankenstein, well, I wouldn't say Frankenstein, but swap out the rear, like how this is a shorter rear. I might be able to use this rear with a shorter front. Let me get this going back a little better. There you go. Now you can get a better angle. But this one is not correct for what I need. I need this and there to be about 44. Could be 43, 45. I can modify the mount a little bit.
but this one is too short. So we'll keep looking. All right, guys, saved you a little bit of trouble of searching all the vehicles that you can see on the front to here. But I found something that'll work. I need something that's 42 inches to the flange and the carrier bearing. And this one has a flange. That's the same flange. I believe it's the same year. Motor and transmission that came, that the customer got the donor. Coyote motor and transmission. So we can use that, and I'll disconnect it because that's a slip right here. I'll disconnect that and just use the front piece. And then I should be able to use a shorter rear piece to make it work. But for now, I can pull this and use this for mock-up. So we'll go ahead and start getting this torn apart. We are back. We have the shaft that you saw. Like I said, this is a two-piece, and it slips. Here, let's see if we can get you this high enough to where you can see down in there. Yeah, there we go. Let me zoom in. You can see there's a slip joint. So I'll go ahead and take this cover off. It'll get put back on when I put the two-piece on, but I'll be able to work with it more. So I'll go ahead and put 2 of the bolts in temporarily. That way we can start getting things figured out. Now we can keep moving forward. Once we get that piece in, then we'll figure out the next part. I believe, like I keep saying, I believe I can get a shorter piece now to slide into there and then make that overall the length we need. The mount is different, so I'll have to make an adapter, but I also am not sure. I believe that's too high. I believe it might have to come down a few inches, so we're gonna have to come up with something. All right, let's keep on trucking. That's in, and it works. I'll have to do some modifications to the carrier mount, which we already knew. It wasn't set up for this drive shaft carrier. It was set up for one you order off Summit and you make your own. I wanted something that's off shelf in case you need to replace anything, carrier bearing mount, any of that. That way it's a lot easier for maintenance. And here, I'll show you the inside. It's bolted up with 2 bolts for now. That pinion needs to come up to about +3. That's where the transmission is. I want it in line with the transmission. So with that being said, I have it up as far as I can get it. And here, let's zoom in there. You can see right there it's hitting. So I wasn't going to, because I only want to cut out what I need to cut out. But I'll go ahead and cut that little square out, and we'll see how much more that gives me. I'll more than likely be cutting this and flowing this into something right there, a 45. And then we'll figure all that out once we get this where we want it. And I can show you right here. We'll center it better, but I can make a bracket, weld something on, or make a bolt-on adapter that goes in between. But since this will be permanent, I'll more than likely make a bracket that I'll weld to there, that this will bolt to once I get it where I need it. Coming along. Like I always say, one step at a time. Any step, even baby steps, is a step towards your goal of either being done or it's just progress. Get out there and get stuff done. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. Don't think about the whole build as a whole. Think about it as, like I said, one piece at a time. Start knocking out those pieces or anything on a list one at a time. Next thing you know, you're done. All right, everyone. That's going to be it for this one. We'll cut that out and get everything mounted up and figure it out the rest of the way on the next one. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. You'll get notified on new content I put out. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.